Welcome to Journey with Josh. I'm Josh Ubaldi, and we're taking you on a journey of a lifetime into marketing and advertising. Together, we'll solve every mystery about marketing you've ever come across so you can get all the leads and sales you want, and best of all, how to grow a business you truly love. Do you ever find yourself saying to yourself, "Ew, David," which of course, if you are a fan of Schitt's Creek, that will sound very familiar to you because that is seemed to be always being said by the wonderful Alexis Rose. Shout out to the absolutely even more wonderful Annie Murphy who creates her. But periodically, this character was just so immediately shoved into a space of, ew, like, why are you doing that? And it was always with that tone, of course. And I feel like this happens so often to everyone inside of your own business, where you just kind of say to yourself, ew, Josh, why are you doing that? Like, what is this? And of course, what are we talking about? Sales. Sales is sleazy, pushy, forceful, gross. A lot of people, to some degree, even people who've done a huge amount of work, still have these little kernels or cores or nuggets of things that rise up from the depths at some point, like something in the depths of Mordor in Lord of the Rings or something, where it's like, whoa, I thought I had done all this work to get rid of this sales is sleazy type of thing out of the system, but it still comes up. And it does still come up periodically. And for some people, maybe for you specifically, maybe it still comes up all the time. Maybe it's still a primary experience for you and it's still something you're moving through. But for most people that I work with and come across, it pops its ugly head up periodically. And it does give us that impression of, ew, why is this seeming just so forceful, right? I think the core thing that I have come to kind of see it as very clearly is with sales, when you're not always in a place of sales truly being the service you offer and provide to the world, right? In that bigger picture way, that ultimately it is this moment of force versus power, right? There is always power in you getting to be able to say, you have this problem with whatever it is in your life, work, and relationships, and you as the business owner have the solution to their problem, ultimately. And how powerful that is to say that. What is someone looking for? What do they want? You have the answer? How terribly powerful. Which feels so different when you know you're not hitting the right chord, when you know you're playing the note and it's gone a little awry, and it actually isn't quite so powerful and vulnerable and direct and specific and clear. And instead it just seems a bit forceful, right? And it strikes that chord in you where you're like, ew, David, ultimately. So I don't need to keep hitting that over the head. But today I want to give you a very fast, easy fix that actually should solve that consistently when it does rear its ugly head, but even more so should start to do a lot of different jobs for you and take care of a lot of different things all across the board in lots of different ways. And that specifically is making this shift and not actually marketing your sale or your offer, right? If you have this customer journey that starts here and it brings people all the way over here, and you know that that final step is always going to be a sale, a paid offer, a final thing there. Ultimately, right, it's not going to be necessarily about needing to market that final offer, but it's going to be about marketing your mission, your values, and your purpose. And that is something that I've seen repeatedly with the very best businesses, those 7-figure upgrade type of businesses, where that catapults you from 1.5%, 2% growth into that 10x growth zone, which is exactly where we want you ultimately. So again, the goal for today's conversation is to really go from marketing your sale or your offer and stepping into that place of going to being able to market your mission, your values, and your purpose and the deeper fundamentals of your business that your audience can connect to. This is not complicated even. This is not even something that needs to be made simple, right? Is intrinsically this or that, right? Ew, David, no. It's not something that rears its ugly head. It's something for you to tap back into. So let's do a little fast turnaround here. And let's figure out how to workshop really easily. Because this one I love because it's short and sweet. And it's sweet because it's that sweet essence of just talking truth, your truth, to your audience's truth. My truth to your truth to your audience's truth. It's sweet and it's direct, and it's like the pure essence of marketing. It's not about the sale. The sale comes. Oh my God, how does the sale come naturally? The sale comes so much more effortlessly. Yes, that's really sweet. That's a sweet, pure, like they used to say when I was an actor and I was in that acting world, right? They would often say, it's really, really important to play Shakespeare with the eyes of a puppy. Now, you may think there's a lot of conflicting things there. I'm not playing Shakespeare. Why is Shakespeare involved with puppies? How did these things go together? But just take it for a second and sit with it. Are you going to play Shakespeare with the eyes of a puppy? Open, vulnerable, connected, simple, present. Oh my God. If today is about nothing else, it is about the essence of great acting as well, which is about being present. Staying present with your people, staying present with what they want, staying present with where you are today and what you want them to know. So let's workshop this. Let's turn this around. And I really want to do this in these 3 specific steps because they seem to work so deeply well over and over. The first one is really talking all about your mission. Now, in terms of mission, I'm going to say if you have a business, you probably have some kind of mission, right? This isn't like, oh, I guess I should figure that out, right? You probably have some kind of mission. But this first step of a real workshop turnaround is to let's review this mission. And if you don't feel like you have one, now is the time to really create a mission. So we're talking about reviewing or creating a very, very strong mission for you to keep coming back to. And this is the thing that is going to be really easy and make things easy for you to focus and then share. In terms of the focusing piece of this, it's not like pay attention and just keep eye contact and we're holding like some weird cold stare, right? It's never actually going to be quite about that. The focus we're talking about is in terms of your language and your messaging and what you're choosing to put out there. And it's really good. This is a great time to kind of take a moment to say, it's good to touch in and make sure that when someone talks about messaging, it isn't this weird marketing speak, right? Messaging is how you're putting your message together in order to put something together and then share it with your people. The same thing with language. How do you use language? It's one of your unique strengths. Your unique strength in how you do your business in your industry versus how a different business, what other people might call a competitor, right? How they use language and how they share that language with their audience. Your messaging and your language, these are the things that you're doing already and you may not be very conscious or aware of it. This is a perfect time to create just a touch more self-awareness, not self-consciousness, but self-awareness to be like, how do I do this and what do people respond to? And starting to draw some lines for yourself to say, this is what people seem to respond to at the end of the day, right? It's usually those things that are true for you where you're really present and talking about in this moment what is really important. All of that makes up the mission of your business. So it keeps you focused, it keeps you present, it also keeps you really clear in this sharing service element. If you have a very strong, clear mission, it's very easy to start to tap back into that on a regular basis and share that with people. not to go off on a total tangent here, this really reminds me, and it's almost the exact same thing, of people talking about and giving a lot of lip service. You know, this is you. I know this has been me in the past too, in different times, where it's like it comes down to that avatar. Have you worked on your avatar? What some people call your ideal audience, your audience of one, whatever, right? You've created that avatar experience. And at the end of the day, right? Are you using that in every piece of your marketing? Are you using that and tapping into it every single day? And most people are like, yes, I put it together. I don't really use it, right? But it's only been there and workshopped for you to actually put in place and use. And that's actually very much the case with people's mission. And so what are a couple examples of mission? For example, right? One great business I've worked with, right, is a business owner who has the mission of helping women who want to have a child naturally, who have trouble conceiving, right? And the mission is she will support, help, and bring to the other side women who are having trouble conceiving so they can have the child they've always wanted and basically overcome the obstacles of fertility that seems so easy to other people. That's a very strong, beautiful, clear mission. And every day, which is really what this boils down to, every day that is often enough to juice you up to take the steps to grow and expand the business. Because if that's your mission, how can you not want to support and help far more women actually overcome these obstacles that so many women have and so many people don't feel like is getting talked about or talked about in a positive, powerful way? Very similarly, have another client who her mission is to support women who are entering the period of their life of menopause and they no longer feel like themselves. They feel like strangers in their own body and they have never felt so disconnected from themselves before. And the mission is to help these women overcome that, reclaim, and maybe even discover an even stronger sense of themselves and move through menopause gracefully and come out the other side even better and stronger than ever before. What a glorious mission. Because you know what? There's also a beautiful situation there where, unlike the woman who helps women who have struggle conceiving, right? Every woman, for the most part, almost across the board, let's say 99% of women, will experience something like menopause. Or you could say 100% of women will experience menopause in their lifetime. That's an extraordinary thing, right? Even inside my own business, right? There's a very clear, straightforward mission. Everything that's designed inside our own business is to help people, creators of things like courses and group programs and packages, people like coaches and experts and leaders who put together courses or things like that, to help them, especially if they use some sort of launch model, to help them move aside all these obstacles and start to 10x their growth in order to serve and help 10 times more people inside their realm of expertise. How extraordinarily moving is that type of thing to get you juiced every day? Hey, it's Josh here. Are you finally ready for advertising that works every single time? If so, then download the 3 T's of great advertising right now. We're going to give you our simple 3-step system that quite literally works every time for ads that do the job time and again. And as well, we're also going to give you the 7 marketing must-haves. These are the main principles so you can get the absolute most out of your investment in any type of Facebook and Instagram ads and beyond. Don't hesitate. Let's get started today and make this super simple. It's certainly not rocket science and there's no smoke and mirrors. Download it today at www.goldenringmarketing.com/get started. One more time, that's www.goldenringmarketing.com/get started. And we'll see ya on the other side. The second piece of this, though, past mission, is also values. Now, the values are going deeper and kind of pulling a lot of these elements apart. The values are the things that are going to really guide you on a daily basis past that general sense of the mission. The mission is this beautiful starting point, but the values are the things that are really going to become ultimately the touchstone for you. The thing for you to come back to and keep checking in with and tapping back into and reminding yourself. I always think of this as kind of like playing tag and coming home to home base, right? There's always a home, there's always a base. That's where you're safe ultimately in like a game of tag or something like that. And with your values very much become your touchstone, your home base, and they are very much something for you to be guided by every single day. So, for example, with the woman whose mission it is to help women conceive naturally because that is something they're called to do, right? The values of that type of situation are something along the lines of, right? I don't particularly remember all of this person's values, but something along the lines of a woman's body is never a failure. A woman is often failed by the medical system who treats her body like a failure. Not conceiving immediately and naturally is not a wall or something like this, right? These things that actually are constantly empowering and they are clarifying and they are things to remind you of to come back to as you fulfill this mission. Because when you're attempting to help more women who are having trouble conceiving naturally, it's really, really important to keep coming back to those basic messages. The fact that you are not a failure if you can't have this baby and have this baby immediately. Or worse, right? Having something is a huge value in something like this, which is you can still conceive and carry a child through to a healthy, normal, average birth, and a miscarriage may happen along the way, and that is losing a child completely and something that often gets swept under the carpet by other people or something along these lines, right? These things that are very true as you go all along the way to completing this mission. Inside our own business, for example, right? Our very first value, the most important value consistently, because my business is specifically called Golden Ring Marketing, because it is about these success cycles that carry everybody through, and they all connect in this type of cog-like machine of just power and momentum. Ultimately, though, it's not about those golden rings. The main value is everything starts and ends with the golden rule, right? A journey of a customer starts and ends with the golden rule. And the golden rule, of course, is treat other people, treat the people in your world like you want to be treated. You literally can't go wrong unless you are a total masochist. And some of us are total masochists, right? I can't pretend that some people are not extraordinary masochists. But inside your business, the parts of you that you want to be treated so well and so beautifully, just keep coming back to that as a touchstone. It's such an easy touchstone, right? And then the second piece that comes immediately after something like, right, everything starts and ends with the golden rule is every business owner is absolutely doing everything to the best of their current ability with their current circumstances and awareness. And it's easy to step in there and say, well, we can expand your awareness. We can expand your tool and your skill set. We can expand these things, but you've not done anything wrong if you're not getting results that have been promised to you by so many other people, like overnight, right? 6 figures in 7 days, 7 figures in 6 days, 7 figures in 8 days, right? All of these things where it's like, it hasn't played out. And the only reality is, if it's played out for you like that, great. Then that's conversation's not for you. But for 95% of people, it doesn't play out like that. So how do you recover from that? Your values help you recover from these things too, which is why I always think it's very helpful to actually have this little tag, home base, I'm safe, right? I can touch this and I'm safe here. And I can touch back in and I can touch back in and remind myself. You get to remind yourself of your mission when you touch back into your values. And finally, the third piece of this is your purpose, right? Purpose and mission are very oftentimes looked at like the same thing. Usually they're like two sides of the same coin, right? The mission is kind of the thing that's the guiding light, but the purpose is, why do you do this? Why do you run this mission every single day? And sometimes your mission is what gets you out of bed, but some days your purpose is what gets you out of bed. And some moments in the course of your day are working in or on your business. Your mission guides you and pulls you through, but your purpose does it on other days. So for the woman with the menopause program, right? Her purpose was to directly make sure that 10,000 people or something like that, 10,000 people were able to reclaim a stronger sense of themselves and then share that exponentially with other people in their world, which I think is beautiful because I like that exponential touch thing, right? In my business, I never feel like I'm just helping one business owner. I'm helping that business owner and all the people that they touch. It's like this beautiful magic connection ultimately, and it becomes exponential and it grows multiple times over. But with your purpose, essentially, this is the route back to your touchstone, right? The route back through your values. It is to say, this is something that can happen way faster. It doesn't need to be this arduous turning of a cruise ship that goes really slow. You can zip around as if you're in a canal in Venice in a beautiful, gorgeous little luxury boat, and you're zipping around the canals of Venice or something really cool like that, like in a James Bond movie. Casino Royale, Daniel Craig, bring it on, right? That for me is the reality. You want to be light and nimble, but still have the momentum and the speed behind it. Your purpose does that. In my own business, in our own business here, right, we specifically have a goal of directly helping 100,000 people, to overcome their obstacles and start to approach 10 times growth in their business. It is a very clear, simple, direct purpose. And sometimes the values get shifted to support that, and sometimes that helps to shift the values, and sometimes both of those things help to just slightly shift the mission, because the mission is always pretty clear and straightforward. But inside your business, you can elevate and upgrade that mission of yours. You can start to really spell out your values. And let me come back to values just for 1 second, because with your values, I suggest you treat them almost like a checklist. Get it all down on paper. Please get all of this stuff down on paper. Get your mission down on paper. Get your values down on paper. You can absolutely check out the way we use our mission, values, purpose, and even bonus point, we even have a little vision in terms of how we use this and what we do. I will put the link for this in our show notes specifically so you can see our MVP page, our missions, value, purpose page, because this is something you want to get out of yourself and you want it to be front and center for your audience. You want to be able to articulate and put these things together clearly and simply, right? So many people have worked on the 30-second elevator pitch, right? And it sounds so pithy and so light and so direct. How often do you usually get to use your elevator pitch? Or do you only really get to use that elevator pitch when you're introduced to someone at a cocktail party who will never ultimately use your product or service? Ultimately, most people use their elevator pitch when they're being introduced to people who have nothing to do with their business, right? And it's like you're meeting your spouse's friends or a business associate of your spouse, and they're like, "Oh, what do you do, Carol?" And you're like, "Oh, here's my 30-second elevator pitch." But it's not there for your business. It's there for you to like boil down, well, this is just what I do. Isn't that nice, right? I use it, my 30-second elevator pitch, with my parents constantly because they never seem to really get what I do. Because what I do is so modern and they're so old. My parents are beautifully, I'm so lucky that they're still here, but they're as old as dirt. They don't know what any of this tech stuff is ultimately. And so they have a hard time articulating, what do you do? Oh my God. Yeah, you're like, I've told you this 42 times, at least in the last 3 months. But ultimately, you want this stuff to be able to stand loud and proud and clear to your audience. And if you have this mission and these values and this purpose and maybe even a bit of a vision involved as well, right? If you have these things available, you get to start actually marketing that. And then people start to pay attention and they're like, oh, that's interesting. What is this all about, right? And then you can talk about your offers and your sales, your paid offers. You can talk about those things while discussing your missions, your value, and your purpose. Because then people start to experience this on a much deeper, more visceral, and actually more soulful level, right? This is way more aligned and holistic because it is done on a soulful, deep solar plexus, speak it from here type of level. And that's what you want to tap into with your audience. You want your audience, number one, 100% to know how much you care about them and their results. And also, it just gives you a way easier platform and different content and things to talk about in terms of know, like, and trust, which we talked about so recently just here in this little platform. And that's what I want to make sure that you can start to, again, make this shift going from talking about the sales goal, talk about the sale, talk about the offer, benefit transformation offer, benefit transformation offer, benefit pain point transformation offer, transformation pain point offer, right? It's almost like people get in these little unintentional mantras, and it's good to get you going. If you need something to get you going and get started, that's a great thing. And there's nothing wrong with any of that. But as you get to want to connect more to better people, to your more ideal audience, to people who are going to be buyers faster, to people who want to be connected with your business faster and who want support faster, you want to get connected to people who will ultimately be the person you want to have direct conversations with. So much really is always about having a direct line of marketing being that connector, not obstacle to get over on the way to a sale. But the marketing is this direct line. It's such a huge point of service. But if we're always talking about it in terms of a sale, an offer, right? It gets shoved aside the more important stuff, which is this mission, value, and purpose. I want you to be able to tap into and dive into that at will when you want to call upon it. But the more you do start calling upon it, it takes care of this journey so much faster. It truly does facilitate you, and maybe this is the values alone in a lot of ways. It facilitates you to connect those dots along this customer journey that your audience is not going to naturally start connecting for themselves. Your audience needs you to do it for them. That's the true generous service that you can do for them. And this is the tool to do that. So we will put a link to our mission, values, purpose page inside the show notes. You can always get that there. So click through there. It's goldenringmarketing.com. And you can even just go to the MVP page. If you go to goldenringmarketing.com, MVP will take you to the missions, value, purpose page. You can see how we use it. You can see how you may want to use it in the future as well. And if you've enjoyed this episode and you may want to pay it forward, please do like and share this with people. Please do follow this and like this on the platform you're watching this, whether it's Spotify or Apple, or maybe you're watching this actually in real time on YouTube or something like that. Please do this so other people have the chance to find this as well. And they also can start to exponentially serve their audiences better. Just like I would hope for you to be able to start serve your audience on like a 10x level. That's what we really want for you ultimately. So as always, you can always find us on Spotify, on YouTube. You can find us at goldenringmarketing.com. You can find us in all these places. You can find us obviously on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn. But find us Indeed, leave a comment and review. And again, it's already starting. It's coming soon. I'm so excited. If you have questions about launching, about advertising for launching, about marketing in general, specifically digital marketing and online marketing, right? If you have questions about these things, I am going to go out on a limb and actually say, I know why your marketing isn't working, and I know why your advertising isn't working. Isn't that like a crazy, bold, crazy thing to say? But I just might have the answer, and I want to hear your questions. So if you have questions inside Spotify, you can go in and leave a little answer to that question that's inside the show notes there under questions. You can also leave a comment if you're watching this inside of something like YouTube, and we will start answering your questions live on our very special Q&A podcast session. And I look forward to doing that for you, moving these obstacles aside and building that momentum up. Today, it's all about your mission's value and your purpose. And please reach out and share your mission, value, and purpose with me. And I want to elevate that as much as I can and help you support you in that as well. See you next time.